everyone. Let me start that again. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Capes and Lunatics. Another week with another creator. I mean, I don't know how we got so lucky, but our good friend, Mr. Clay McLeod Chapman, returns to talk Devil's Reign, Villains for Hire #2, as promised. Thank you, sir, for keeping your promise.
Thanks for having me back. I thought I had burned all my bridges last time, and that you would never want to talk to me again.
Oh, no,
never.
No, you'll be good at that.
Never.
Yeah.
Even if you call one of us a dumbass, we'll still have you back gladly.
That's the joke.
Sorry, Charlie.
No, it's okay. I wear it as a badge of honor, as you know.
I mean, when Peter David,
did someone call you a dumbass? Did a
Peter
guest call you
David
a
called him a
David.
dumbass.
Who did?
Peter David.
Peter David. He did not like my fan theory on the origin of Cyclops' concussion beams being somehow tied to the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak, because both were red force from a universe of red cosmic energy that is this strength force that holds things or pushes things. And I don't know, to me, it just makes sense. To him, he says I'm a dumbass. So.
Wow.
It was lovingly, though, so.
Okay. As long as it's lovingly. You will. I will hold my tongue and keep all my dumbassery.
No, we insist, please.
If I say something stupid, please call me out on it. You know, I will wear it as a badge of honor too. Of which I have a thing, and maybe I'm completely off base here, and we can, and you may not even be able to answer the question. So, are we live? Are we doing this now? Can I just jump right in full?
Yeah,
feet?
we're live. Go ahead.
Okay, man, because I gotta ask you. We have one, presumably John Walker here, presumably leading our Villains for Hire here. There's a secret part of me that just thinks that's not John Walker. That's secretly Hawkeye infiltrating the Villains for Hire before it's been revealed there is going to be a Thunderbolts series coming. I don't know how closely that'll tie into this, but it's kind of hard to think that, here we got this, and then
You think Hawkeye's underneath the mask? You think it's
It wouldn't be his first time.
I think, yeah. I mean, he's masqueraded as people before. He's done that. And I could see him absolutely trying to fake his way in there, knowing that Walker would be a guy who'd show up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Leave my Clinton Barton alone. Let him retire.
Right.
I don't know. You threw that out before. I know. I think it's John Walker now. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I love fan theories, and I'm of the mindset that, like, if you can think it, who am I to stand in the way of anyone's theory until kind of proven otherwise. But it's interesting because after they announced the new Thunderbolt series, I'm definitely just as curious of like how they're gonna dovetail everything into one another. I'm sure they have some sneaky plan.
You know nothing about Thunderbolts? Like, they didn't tell you, by issue 3 you have to be at a certain point or anything?
How did it pan out? For me, like they had definitely been, like, they knew they were going to do a new Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Like that was the kind of, that was always on the horizon. And it wasn't until after Christmas that they were like, we know who's going to be writing it. We know what's going to be happening. Not even what's happening, but just like this is the plan moving forward. And I know with my revisions for issue 3, which I can't really get into, like they were like, this has to steer a little bit more in that direction, and that has to steer a little bit more in that direction. But I if anything, I don't think this is spoilery at all, but like wherever, because I'm totally wrong in my chronology here. Villains for Hire 3 will come out, and there's probably like 1, if not 2 more issues of the actual Devil's Reign, right? Like there's Yeah, so there's like there's like more scaffolding that goes beyond my tenure with Devil's Reign. So I'll leave Johnny and his crew, and they'll probably have a few more steps that I will not spoil in the macro Devil's Reign storyline.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think that was like the most evasive answer. It was kind of
we've had worse. We've had worse. Chef's kiss.
I don't know.
Great media etiquette. Chef's kiss.
We appreciate you trying. Yes.
Well, I really got to say, and this is what I have to say. I really loved John Walker's take and dialogue in this. And again, like I said, it was John Walker.
So it couldn't possibly really be John Walker, is what he's saying.
No. What I'm just saying is it was John Walker-y enough to make me go, well, I mean, that does seem like something John Walker would say.
Yeah.
I'm trying, like all great scientists, I'm trying to fit the evidence into the theory I already had when I started reading. And
isn't it like as readers, you kind of have that like you want it to be maximized. You want it to go as big and almost as improbable as humanly possible. You want the big twist. You want the reveal. You want the mask to come up. And for the Villains for Hire, it is interesting because it is like, carving out this, it feels like a smaller story in this larger event, but like trying to get all those dynamics, like, I mean, like it's, but like feeding into the larger macro narrative. I don't know. It's a weird needle to thread. Is my point. But
and along those lines, we do see that, of course, John's wearing a wire.
Yeah.
Because
snitches get stitches.
Well, as this happens.
Professor, you are a Walker fan? Like, are you?
I won't say I'm a Walker. Okay, I'm a Walker fan. Yeah, I like whenever John Walker shows up. I was not a fan of him when he was Super Patriot, obviously.
Yeah. Can you talk about what makes Walker a good what? Like, I'm very curious. I want to ask you, where does Walker exist within this kind of larger universe, and what are his attributes that make him either interesting, compelling?
He's a failed Captain America, and Jack Monroe Nomad, which even William Burnside's, if they ever bring him back, like Nuke, in the ways that they present them, they're guys who come at it from this perspective of, I want to be a hero, I want to be Captain America. But, there's always something lacking in them that push. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why I think that it fits so well with Hawkeye. Because Hawkeye is very much the same kind of character. A guy who wants to be a Captain America, but just is never, there's too much in him that is not going to be Captain America to let him be Captain America. But but he's still going to say, I'm fighting for right and I have my moral code. But at the same time, he's going to play it a little fast and loose when he can, because he thinks he can get away with it. Whereas, I think that Captain America can play it fast and loose when he needs to, but it's not because he can get away with it. It's because that's what needs to be done, because it's the right choice. Yeah. It's one of those things where you have a moral paragon character like Captain America. Everyone who tries to be a moral paragon can never quite be a moral paragon, but they're going to play the game as loose as they can when they can.
You know what I call that, Charlie? I call that the Doug Pitt conundrum. Because you wake up in the morning and you look just so damn close to Brad Pitt, but you just missed the boat. You just missed it.
Yeah. And I will say that, when I looked at this scene and you see these sticks in the alley, I'm thinking, oh, that's where you hit his bow and arrow. That's his bow and arrow there. He's gonna get that later. You watch. So, like I said, you come up with a good theory and then you take the evidence and you just jam it into the theory till it fits.
That's called fan wanking, Charlie. Fan wanking is the word you're looking for.
And that's what I got my professorship in.
I mean, I think you did a good John Walker here, because it's like, You want him to kind of have the cocky swagger, the attitude. You want him to go about 90%, which I think you have him doing, or maybe a little under. You don't want a full 100% John Walker attitude, but
Yeah.
I think you've thrown in just enough.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I mean, like, I'm relieved to hear you guys are, being kind to me with Walker, because like, what I find interesting about him is that kind of flawed nature of like, he has ambitions and goal, like his desire is to be something greater than what he ultimately is or believes him to be. And it's like, having reached for the sun and gotten burned, it does something to his kind of like day-to-day ethos. And I don't know, like I was really hopeful that I don't know, like getting into the kind of like, dealing with the Thunderbolts themselves and like, now being kind of responsible for these particular characters and this kind of crew in Fisk. Like all of these kind of notions of either doing the ethical thing, the right thing, like writ large patriotism, but then like serving a master like Fisk and, being in charge of the bad guys. Like, I don't know, like it just seemed like there was a lot to kind of play with there. But doing it economically and, with haiku dialogue is always kind of a challenge.
Well, I mean, you definitely thread the needle. And, John Walker is one of these characters that can have a lot of fans just because, depending on the writer, he can be whatever you want him to be. He can be the big dumb guy, or he can be the guy who is actually really moral and centered when he actually gets his focus around him.
Yeah.
And, that's just the nature of the character. It's like when he is willing to really say, this is what I believe, he actually becomes a much better character. And I think you got him in here being, this is what I believe,
Yeah.
It's nice when you see that. And I think really what makes him great is when the chips are down, he's at his best. When he knows he's got his back up against the wall and he's got to figure out what he's going to do. I mean, he still doesn't trust whoever he's working with. He doesn't trust much of anyone, but he knows he has to do his part in this larger story. And really everything he says is spot on, which is he comes in and he says, listen, your supervillains are going to go nuts if you don't have someone to rein them in.
Yeah.
I can rein them in. I've done it before, and that is, I think, his selling point here. Like, there's nothing about that dialogue that sounds off or weird. And again, the fact that was also Hawkeye's role at one point kind of feeds into it again. It all keeps on coming back to me.
I will not deny I can neither confirm nor deny your fan theory.
That's all I'm asking.
I'm pleading the fifth, but that's just because I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
It would be amazing if in the first issue of Thunderbolt, John Walker peels off the mask and it is Hawkeye, because then they really kept the cards close to their chest and they didn't even tell.
You better say, mark my words, Charlie. You better say
Mark
it.
my words. That first issue.
I mean,
I think my favorite character was Agony, though. I thought that was just chef's kiss. I really do enjoy your take on Agony a lot. Character can fall by the wayside, but you're having fun with that character.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just because of my head is kind of in symbiote land for the last couple of years, but Agony's great because their characters dealing with kind of political corruption from Extreme Carnage into this. I feel like, I don't know, I can't spoil anything, but I would be so over the moon if there was a romantic something between Walker and Agony.
Oh, I was gonna say Electro, but okay. Ship what you want to ship.
When I pitched it,
I'm just going to toss this out there. Walker does have symbiote DNA in him. For those who remember the last Thunder, or maybe one of the Thunderbolts runs, where he actually was bonded with a dead symbiote from an alternate universe. So that's how he got his legs and arms back. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he lost it. Was it his legs and arm? I remember the arm.
Yeah, he lost both. He lost. Well, I think it was like below the knee. He lost his feet and hand.
Okay.
He had like one hand left, and then he had the little claw, and then he was in a wheelchair, and then he got the legs, the robot legs. But then one of the new Thunderbolts bonded him with the dead symbiote, and that's how we got it all back. So I mean, right there, it's there if Agony wants to awaken something in John.
Agony's a definite high point for me in this 3-issue series. Any chance I have had to kind of pull Agony into the forefront, I just took it. So yeah,
no complaints here.
I wish I could do more.
I mean, you're gushing about all these characters. Okay, Clay, so if Marvel came to you and said, okay, after this series, you can spin one of these characters out into their own book, which you can write, who would you pick?
I mean, probably no lie, I would pick Agony. Purely because I just feel like there's such great kind of relationship dynamics and conflict with symbiotes and their hosts. I always just like the kind of the duality of character, that it's not, you're never writing for just one character, you're writing for two, and their relationship dynamics are always really compelling to me. I would say Agony would be great. I don't know if I've been doing Electro's been a lot of fun, but Whiplash and Taskmaster, I feel like I haven't really, I feel guilty for those two. I haven't pushed them as far as I could or had hoped.
But what can you do when John Walker shows up? Honestly, he stole the show. He did. I mean, I didn't even notice until I reread it. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't Taskmaster in here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because, at least for an earlier draft, there was a lot more conflict between Taskmaster and John Walker, kind of vying for control of the group. That Taskmaster always wanted to be, in charge, but John Walker would be like, shut up, no, it's me, I'm the boss. But that got kind of pushed to the wayside. But yeah, there's always this it's juggling that many characters. I don't know how the pros do it, but juggling 5-6 characters all at once, you always want to just find, everyone should have their little moment. And
I think everybody did have their moment in this book, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
After the John Walker stuff died down, everybody did get a little bit of a chance to shine. They did.
I was actually going to say, for as little as Rhino does, Rhino has some really glowing moments in here, and Rhino is, of course, one of my very favorite characters as well. Where he does come to John Walker's aid, and they do a little team power move, which was cool.
Yeah.
And I just like that he just fell right into. And honestly, it's why is Rhino not on more teams?
Yeah.
Because it seems like that is where he would love to be. He wants to be working on a team, just
punching
being
the clock.
Yeah,
some health benefits. Go home.
Yeah, man. Listen to some Danny Styles. It'll be great.
I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but I do think that Rhino is the moral center of this crew. They're there's something to be said about Rhino is definitely the kind of workman. He's punching the clock. He's doing his job, but he's also, I don't know, he's the most morally conflicted by what the group at large is doing, and I think, and that will feed into the larger story arc and the rest of the series. But yeah, I think Rhino's got some heart.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I like his role in that.
Can I just switch gears a little bit? I just want to talk about the color palette. Did you consult with the art team about that dark, gloomy kind of color palette, or was it just something they naturally interpreted from the story, or is that more of an editorial decision to kind of blend in with the rest of the books?
I mean, ultimately, it is it's editorial. Like what was the discussion that we had? The first issue had like a gazillion inkers, and this one, issue 2 only had one. Wait, no,
Yeah.
there's the inker, and then
there's a colorist.
I'm looking at the.
I think it was Manuel and Lorenzo, and then also
there was 2.
Yeah.
And I'm not privy necessarily to the conversations that the colorists had about like the look, but I do know that like every step of the way, everyone has been saying like, we want this to be gritty, we want this to feel dirty, like we want like any chance we get to make it feel just kind of rough around like I'm a big 70s cinema fan, so like French Connection, Dog Day Afternoon,
And I appreciate the violence. I think a lot of people are like kind of like thrown by it, but I like it. I get what you're going for.
We wanted it to be gritty, and I think
so. I was wondering if that's why the color palette was muted, because there is a little bit more violence than you would normally see.
Is
kind of that old trick.
Like, I'm totally curious. Like, are we doing too much?
Not for me.
Not a value judgment, but like content-wise, like, does this feel like more violence than your average run?
Well, I read Spider-Man and Daredevil, so that's kind of a.
I mean,
and I'm a Batman fan, so it's just like I don't know. I'm not the right person to ask.
There's more punching in this, but a lot less like people getting their faces eaten.
Yeah.
So I thought like the first issue, that one really like, oh, these people are kind of sociopathic. I think Fisk picked the wrong team.
No, he picked the right team.
I mean, it's villains for hire. We weren't expecting Sunday tea, Clay.
I know, but it's just, geesh, like I said, it's like when Rhino's like, can't we just like run through a wall and steal some jewels or something? It's like when Rhino's like, the body count's a little too high for me. That is worrisome. But I think it shows why you need John Walker to come in, and so the violence works within the context of the story, especially within the context of Fisk's story and the larger everything that's been going on in the city for the last few years. It's like Escape from New York all over again, quite frankly. And
I like that feel of violence is always around the corner, because I mean, let's be honest, it's New York, and it's Marvel's
New
York.
It's the 80s again. I love it. It's perfect.
I mean,
so for me, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's just so funny because like the last thing I wrote for Marvel was Extreme Carnage, so like, which just had like bodies just getting ripped and like, it was just so kind of over the top with its violence, that to come to this, the violence is much more hand to hand. Like it's just like everyone's just like, clobbering one another. And that was fun. It was fun for me because it was like, how do you get that kind of bone crunching quality into the panel? Like, how can you just like let it feel gritty and kind of grungy? So I think Manuel's pencils totally did that. I think the muted colors and like the grays and the kind of like, it almost has like an ashy quality to it. Like it feels very like New York on a gray day, like a rainy day, overcast day. Like that stuff's just great. And like everybody looks kind of like like it's almost like when you have a camera and you like take 5 shots of the same moment, but it's like you get to like watch the like the movement, but it's like there's like the third picture is like kind of like it's almost like a little bit off. It's like it's like the in between shot. Like a lot of the panels in this work almost feel like they're the kind of like you're 1 or 2 snaps away from the actual like really good shot, but these are the like or the like, I don't know. I'm not explaining myself well here, but
no,
like
I actually get it. It makes sense, and I think that. Although I think sometimes that actually adds to the feeling of motion, You know, when you get that shot in between, and I just want I kind of get the feeling that it's like everything has a very purple vibe. You know, it's you get that feeling there that it's just like that's the overcast. It's just the purple haze.
But then you get a like this. Like to me, like every time I get to this panel, like what I love about it is that like it's just gray, everything sucks, and then like there's this one shot of like John Walker stage diving into the crowd, and like
that's the power move,
and it's like bam, like I don't know, like that's probably one of my favorite panels in issue 2, if not the whole series, because it just feels very, I don't know, subtle in its own way, but like emblematic of like this is a chance to kind of shine a spotlight on Walker. It's like the sun comes out for just a little moment, and it's just like, hey, everything's okay.
It's perfect. It is actually. It is really excellent. Yeah.
Right. No, I know you were like worried. So what? You were worried about too much violence. I'm like, our hero in the story, John Walker, is in his day has been as violent as any of these villains, maybe even more.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's not so much that I was worried about too much violence. It was more just the kind of curiosity of like, for the comics that I read, which isn't enough. I like there's this moment of like how like I'm just so curious, like does like if there was like a list of like the 10 most violent, like like I'm just curious where it is on the spectrum of violent comics, I know it's not the most violent, but is it like in the 10th percentile, the 20th percent? Like
I don't feel like it's gratuitous at all, but lots of punching, and I'm okay with that. I think people want to get back more to that, but you also have a story behind it too, so it's kind of like a good balance. When it's just punch 'em ups, it's when it's like they fight for 15 pages. It's like okay, I think that's a little too much, but you don't have that going. So
you're a T+. You're okay.
Like this podcast.
What is it? What's the rating system? It's like teen, like there's like young reader, middle
13
grade.
plus, and then 17 plus, right?
Yeah, I think all my books are T+. So
I was gonna say I thought most of Marvel's books these days were T+. So unless it's like an all ages book.
Even
but I thought all the regular books, because I'm like Amazing Spider-Man, it's T+.
Is Amazing Spider-Man T+?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just in case.
Wait, it might be T.
Is that T?
So is there T and T+? Yeah. Okay, Spider-Man might be T. So.
Well, that makes sense since he's the moneymaker. He's the mascot at this point. So.
Oh yeah.
Is Daredevil T or T+?
No, he has to be T+, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, this week Moon Knight is T+. So.
He's always T+, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
If he's not, he should be.
Ever since he cut a man's face off, probably.
Yeah.
Best to be cautious with that.
Well, it's not like he's doing that this issue.
No. Okay, I keep forgetting if I ask you these questions already, Clay, but it's like, is there any character in Marvel that you haven't written that you would like to write, or was there someone you wanted to put in here and maybe there just wasn't space for them?
Well, in issue 3, there was constant kind of conversations about like maybe introducing other characters. So I'll leave it at that. But like if, outside of the Villains for Hire, I always have a soft spot for Man-Thing. And I know we kind of talked about that earlier. But like I don't think Man-Thing would want to be a part of the Thunderbolts, but I would just love to write a Man-Thing comic. For a hot second there, I was going to try to write something for Morbius, but that didn't happen. Who else? I had for like growing up, I had a soft spot for the Punisher, and I was very lucky to write a very, very kind of small cameo of the Punisher in my Scream in issue 6 of the Curse of Carnage. But yeah, like every time I close my eyes and answer that question, it's always Man-Thing. Like I always just want to do Man-Thing. But there has to be someone else that would be. But that's just always.
That's an excellent choice.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, and of course, Man Thing was on the Thunderbolts.
That's true. That's true.
See, I got my deep Thunderbolts lore here, man. See, Man Thing's one of those great characters where he can literally go anywhere and be anything, and it doesn't really matter because Man Thing can even go into another universe, and then a new Man Thing shows up behind him, and it's like it is just a constant circle of Man Things, and that's
he's literally the mystery machine going from town to town.
Yeah, well, and then I mean that's the thing. It's like I mean, hold your guns. They'll let you do a Man Thing story. I'm certain of it.
One day.
Just start saying, and then the Man Thing shows up, and just keep on saying it until someone says, "Yeah, okay, I'll buy it. I'll buy it."
Well, I was going to say,
always try to work one Man Thing into every pitch you do from now on. That's my advice.
Totally.
I was just going to say, if not now, pretty soon here, they're going to be looking for Morbius material probably. So you might get your shot.
We'll see, Philip.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Have they finalized the release date?
I saw a commercial on TV today. They're saying April 1st, only in theaters. So.
Oh, they're going to sully your birthday like that, Phil. I'm so sorry. But at least you have Moon Knight the day before. At least you have that.
That's like 2 days before. I know, man. That's boy. I'm like, are they going to introduce vampires in the Moon Knight? I'm like,
Dracula, give me my money, you nerd! Got to. They have to.
No, I'm just waiting for it. Okay, you want to make my birthday complete, Marvel? How about a Clay McLeod Chapman book? You put Morbius and Man Thing in the book.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Hey, a love triangle with Agony. I'll be down for that.
Honestly, I think that book writes itself, quite frankly.
I don't even need to do it. It's done. Like it's already at the printer.
Yeah.
So, do you have any after number 3 or anything else coming up?
What can I talk about? I mean, it's funny. Like, am I taking a break? I don't have anything at Marvel at the moment. I'm going to be doing a creator-owned thing later in the year, but yeah, I don't know. It's always that moment of like, is this the last thing I'm ever going to write for Marvel? Like I always like something ends, and I'm always like, they're never going to ask me back again. And it's always like after Curse of Carnage, after King in Black, after Extreme Carnage, and like every time it's just been like, this is it. Like I'm like, either I've just like mucked it all up and I'm never gonna, like they're just gonna be like, like, but for some reason, like I feel like the Villains for Hire thing, like I'm like, is this like?
No, it's no way. Unless you totally blow number 3 to hell, there's no way. You've been doing a great job. I've seen a lot of really great response to it. So
never say never. There's always
never say never, but
there's always the chance.
I'm just saying that someone's they're gonna say, hey, you know what? We've never had the Man Thing bond with a symbiote, and then they're gonna say, who can we get to write a Man Thing symbiote story?
Can you imagine?
I think Man Thing's the last person who hasn't had a symbiote, so yeah.
That symbiote war, mark my words.
I'm just thinking about it. It's like, man, really, if you think that makes sense for like the symbiotes to want to infect the Nexus being, and there's a possibility here, man.
Yeah.
They want to do King in Black 2 or something. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because you always got to go bigger the next time, so you got to get it cross multiverses. So.
Oh my god. Yeah, how is it going to get bigger? I just don't.
You have the Man Thing get infected by a symbiote, man. It just.
This
is my idea. I'm giving it to you for free. There you go. Enjoy.
Don't laugh. A lot of things we put into the ether happen actually miraculously. So don't laugh.
As soon as this interview is over, I'm gonna email and start revising issue 3 of Villains for Hire to make it so that Hawkeye. So John Walker pulls off the mask and is like, "Ah, see you in Thunderbolts, #1."
Please, all my ideas are for free, and you can just say, "No, actually, he just guessed my brilliant idea, which I had already created."
It was always the plan. It was always a part of the script.
we ask for no money, no credit. If you could just maybe put us in one panel of a comic, that's all.
Yeah,
we
and it
ask.
could just be Looney Capes. It doesn't have to be the whole Capes of Lunatics. Just Looney Capes. Podcast, your favorite podcast you listen to in the Marvel Universe, something like that.
Oh yes.
Little name drop. Little what is it? Why am I blanking on what they call it when they product placement?
There we go. Just have John Walker drinking out of one of these festive mugs in the next issue.
Oh my god. Keep Lunatics cane. Fisk is carrying the cane. But no, Marvel, I pledge if you give Clay McLeod Chapman more work, he's welcome back here anytime to talk about it and give you free publicity, Marvel. So
I'm going to need that petition for the Man-Thing started, Phil. You get on that.
My God. Man-Thing would be great. Man-Thing would be... I just feel like having a very... Because I would love to do an intimate Man-Thing story. Keep Man-Thing in one place, in the swamp. Just do something really, really scary with Man-Thing. I would just love to do a straight up horror story, self-contained horror story with Man-Thing. God, that would be amazing.
I was gonna say, so would you want to do a mini series, a self-contained thing, or would you want a monthly thing?
I mean, if they would have me back, I would keep doing it, but I would, Man-Thing is one of those characters that I feel like it's what people Man-Thing to me is a mirror, and it's always it's the reflection of the other characters that kind of really make the story about Man-Thing. But I would just love, I don't know, something about Man-Thing, just focusing on that, on his character, their character I would be over the moon.
So here's the question: Do you do that from a third-person omniscient narrator standpoint? Do you actually give the Man-Thing agency in the story of what it feels or thinks, or does it just never feel or think, and it's just always everyone else sort of projecting onto it? That the Man-Thing is just a blank, just a tree.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it feeds off of the fear, and it's empathic qualities that are so compelling to me that it's like a character that there is something in that character that if you threaded the needle well, if you could do it, speaking to the consciousness of who Man-Thing was, I don't know, I think there's something to be said about kind of diving into the origins of Man-Thing, or who the man was before he became the Man-Thing, but also rather than just feeding off of fear, I just feel like there's so many emotions to eat off of. Why not have an emotional buffet, which brings in other characters.
Yeah, and to that extent, what does that which no love do at the touch of Man-Thing? That's the question,
Wouldn't that be great? That'd be so much fun.
It would be fun. I think that there's a lot you could do with that. You could really explore the emotional spectrum with Man-Thing. Just all everyone ever does is have fear around him. Yeah. If you had beings that didn't have fear and could just be chill with Man-Thing, Man-Thing could be a really lovely guy to hang out with.
Man-Thing needs some love.
Yeah.
Man-Things need love too.
Exactly. Well,
I need that as a drop, Phil. Please, for our Man-Thing merch, I need it.
Totally drop.
I mean, and for what it's worth, I think that's why he and Howard get along. Because I think Howard is this green planty ape is no weirder than the bald apes I hang out with all the time. So it's he's cool with it,
So was there serious thought or just passing thought of putting Man-Thing in this book?
No, I could never. They would just never. It would be and then I mean, it would be just so out of left field. It would just be.
And then Man-Thing walks into the bar.
There was a bit of a laundry list, a short list of what about this character? What about this character? And we there were like scripts where it was like, okay, these are the characters that are coming into play, and then that kind of rippled out with the rest of the series and be like, oh, we can't do that, so let's like there was a bit of maybe musical chairs, Marvel musical chairs, like like there was, but we finally settled on who we needed for the final issue, and sadly, no man thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I'm trying to remember from last month. Did you say was John Walker their suggestion?
Yeah, it was their suggestion. It was my editor's suggestion, and it was like, it was a conversation we had where they were kind of like, so we're thinking, what about John Walker for this? And I was like, oh, really? And it was more them being like, just planting the seed. Let's discuss. Let's see how you feel about that. And like, the more I thought about it, I mean, I do think that what's great about Walker for Villains for Hire for this particular miniseries is that like Fisk and just like all the corruption that is happening in politics in New York City, like I can imagine Walker walking into that and believing he can clean it up, or he's going to do something to kind of make a difference. But like how deep does that corruption go? Like how, like, I don't know. Like I was just obsessed with the idea of corruption, politics, the idea of like being emblematic. Like I feel like Walker is someone who believes in symbols and believes in like the kind of facade standing for something, like wanting to believe in like the, like he puts on the suit and that stands for something. But like this city is so corrupt, and like the whole kind of anti-superhero, like, I don't know, like all of these kind of topics and thoughts kind of went really well with one another. So it was just like throwing all of these ideas out about like, at the rally with the Purple Children, with everything that's happening. Just playing with the idea of corruption. Just love it.
So like an early in an early draft, like who was the main center if it wasn't Walker? Was it going to be Rhino? Was it going to be Taskmaster? Was it going to be Scream?
Well, we definitely knew by issue 2 that it was going to be Walker. In issue 1, Walker shows up in the last 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
So like there, the idea was like, this is building up. Like, let's establish the Thunderbolts as like being, these are the bad guys, and like how far does that corruption go? Like, are they really upholding the law, or are they just bending the law to kind of fill their own pockets or fulfill their own needs? And so like having all of the infighting and all of the like the center will not hold. Like everything that takes place in issue 1 is about showing the kind of rickety structure of the Thunderbolts team, so that when Walker shows up, it's like, this mean business. I'm here to like make a difference and clean this up. And ultimately, by the end of issue 2, maybe with issue 3, there's this idea of like the corruption just goes so much deeper. Like it's not, you could batten down the hatches and clean up the Thunderbolts, but it's still, it goes farther than that. It's bigger than that.
It's all the way down to the Morlocks. It's
Oh no.
But no, Clay, you're gonna be. They're gonna have you back because again, you wrote a good story. The whole event I found is good because a lot of events I'm like, okay, this one was good, maybe this one was not so good. I don't think there's been a clunker in Devil's Reign yet, from any of you. So, I mean,
Chip worked really hard. The editorial team, like,
seems like, yeah,
everybody, like, I don't know, like it's funny because for me, like when I think of Daredevil, like Daredevil feels like the kind of like cool cousin, maybe cool uncle, like younger cool uncle, where like you're at the family reunion and you're like, hey Daredevil, can I hang out with you? And Daredevil will be like, sure man, like come on like Daredevil's just like in the corner, like present, but not necessarily like engaged. So you're like always wanting to like hang out with Daredevil. Like I don't know. Like there's something kind of like hip, but yet like a little bit like standoffish about the Daredevil series in my mind. Where like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been dealing with symbiotes. Like it's like that's like all the crazy cousins of your family. Like they just like they come in and they're like, hey, you know, like I just drank the Drano, like woohoo. But Daredevil's just like smoking the cigarette in the back, being like, "What's up?" You know, like, "See you at Thanksgiving."
Oh yeah, him, and I mean, even I think Elektra might be even bigger in this event than Daredevil. Well,
Yeah.
the other Daredevil, Elektra.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, yeah, totally.
And then again, I'm trying to remember fast this. Were there any notes on Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, where stuff that to do or not to do with Fisk?
What did they say? I think my default was to get really like, hey, you guys, like I'm a tough guy, like I'm a heavy, and my editor would be like, why are you writing him this way? Like that's not Fisk. Like Fisk is, he's the smartest guy in the room, and he knows more, and he's got more kind of. He's playing the kind of 18-dimensional chess, so it was always kind of striking the balance between like his ambition, his malevolence, his methodical nature. I don't know, and but always exuding a sense of threat. That he was always kind of like he had to be, even in his most angry, frustrated moments. Like it always had to have the impact behind it. Like it had to feel like if he was to say he would do something to you, those consequences would be severe. So that like the Thunderbolts would know, like, okay, like when Fisk enters the room, you shut up and follow the orders.
No, yeah, you did a good job, because I know there's like old Daredevil stories where like, yeah, he basically just like strangles like his lawyers if they talk back to him or something, and that seemed like this Wilson Fisk. So
Yeah.
But they're lawyers, to be fair, so that's relatable.
Oh,
I kid. My family has lawyers. I kid.
you need lawyers. You've been in enough car accidents. Come on.
Not at fault. I'm just saying, I got good lawyers. Not at fault.
All right. Any other questions for this man who so generously giving us
I think we bombarded him enough.
Let the poor man go home.
I know it. The real questions, if you'll join us next month, that's when the real questions will, when we have the whole picture.
When we get to that reveal, he can say, yes, you figured it out.
Make it a hat trick.
Curses! They knew my secret reveal all along. That would be amazing. Who knows? We'll see, right? One more issue to go.
It looks like, I mean, unless they change, because some of these have changed before, but it looks like March 23rd, I think, is the issue 3.
Yeah, it was going to be the 16th, but they pushed it back a week. So
yeah, I think a lot of them got pushed. So
yeah, 23rd. Gosh, that's like, oh my God, that's like 2, 3, 1, 2. That's like almost 3 weeks from now. That's like.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Oh, excited to reveal something, are we?
I don't know. It's the third, when you're doing these miniseries, it's tough because it's like, you have to pay lip service to the macro story, the main storyline, so you can't step on their toes, but you have to stick the landing, which is kind of tough when it's like can this story feel like its own kind of sustainable, like does this circle complete itself while remaining open to the rest of the main storyline arc? So it's really, I don't know, it's tough. We'll see. Maybe I did it. Maybe I completely pooped the bed. But
so are we going to get that
on whether you ask me back?
So are we gonna get? So are we gonna get the moment? Oh, we're gonna definitely Gabby back. But no, are we gonna get that moment where you're like, okay, I'm part of the larger Devil's Reign, but this moment, this was my moment. I made this happen. Are we gonna get that?
Wait, from me personally, or
Yeah. Something's gonna happen in the story. You're like, no, this is all me.
I mean, it's funny that the kind of takeaways, the personal takeaways for me, is all the Walker Agony dynamic. I think I had the most fun writing Agony and like exploring the Agony character. The bad guy in this series that is introduced in issue 2, like that was kind of my creation ish, in the sense of like the conversation of like how can a new character kind of tap into the larger mainframe. So like I feel like that was kind of exciting to like have another Purple Child that we haven't seen before, and kind of going from there. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's I'm trying to think of like for 3. Oh gosh, threes are just tough. I have to keep mum about it because I don't want to give anything away. So yeah. But I don't want to like. I also
we already
don't
know.
want to
We
make me
already
feel
know.
like there's
We
something
know it
big.
all.
There's no like. You're gonna be really miffed at me if like you're expecting Hawkeye to come out, and you'll be like, he promised, but he did not deliver.
You just don't want to spoil the ending, no matter what it is. You just don't want to spoil the ending.
That's
Right.
okay.
Right.
All right.
As long as it's fun and it's got violence, I'm there for it. At the end of the day.
There's a drop.
There is some fun. I think there's some fun, but there's definitely some violence.
It's been fun and violent so far. Why?
Woo!
All right.
All right, so if there are no more questions, Mr. Clay McLeod Chapman, thank you for joining us. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Did I see you have another project out right now, or a book or something out?
I mean, I have the paperback of my most recent book comes out in April. That's called Whisper Down the Lane, which is a spooky psychological horror novel. And I have another book, a new book coming out in September called Ghost Eaters. So,
My mind just went somewhere.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a doozy. I'm really excited about that one. But yeah, I think those are the biggies right now. Yeah, just trying to keep busy, stay out of trouble.
And I know you can't. You're not going to reveal it, but did you say you have a creator-owned something comic-wise coming out towards the end of the year?
Yeah, like as far as I know, like as far as we're in that kind of like talking to illustrators and trying to like find the kind of team to put this thing together at a really cool company. So yeah, like I feel like I can't say. I can't say anything because it's not finalized yet, but it's like I have an idea. I'm working on this new story and it's really exciting. And it's a spooky one, so even better.
One more thing to come back for.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was hinting at.
See, I love horror, especially like in the vibes of that old school 70s comic horror stuff. So
Totally.
I'm so down for that. Can't wait to read it.
Well, I mean, we see his taste now. Morbius, Man Thing. So yeah,
He fits right in.
Exactly. All right. So, do you want to plug the Twitter or anything or social media?
I'm on the Twitters. I'm on the Instagrams. I'm on the Facebooks. Yeah, Clay McLeod. Clay McLeod Chapman. You can find me there. I'm very, very, very Googleable.
With the 3 names. All right. Yes, thank you, sir. Definitely. If you'll deal with us again, yeah, we'll have you back for Villains for Hire number 3.
Anytime. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Night, sir.
Take care.
Good night.
Wow, excellent.
totally
so lovable. You just want to
Oh, yeah.
pinch his little cheeks.
I mean, that's what you want to see is the enthusiasm. You don't want somebody just come in here and be like, "Yeah, it's a job. I do it." You know,
Honestly, none of our interviewees have been that way. They all seem to really love what they do. So
I think that's a big component of good storytelling. That you have to like enjoy the story you're telling.
unless you're Frank Miller.
Oh, wow.
Or
Let's
Alan Moore.
talk about begrudging. Jeez.
Or Alan Moore.
He's just
Well,
sick
Alan
of
Moore
your
used to-
garbage.
Alan Moore used to be a young idealist.
Yeah, he got ruined by the industry. I don't blame Alan Moore's great guy, just ruined by the industry. The business side of it can really take it out of you if you let it.
Yeah.
Just like Fisk, man, the man keeping you down.
Just it's the hardness of life. Anyway, so do we want to talk comic books, or do we want to get out of here now? Me and Phil will talk about comic books on the next show.
Yeah, you can talk about comic books on the next show. I got to get ready for the Batman.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, it was the date tonight. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Going to
right.
the Late Show. Yeah.
Have fun.
Okay. Pee beforehand.
The movie, Lil.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour movie.
Mind your damn business, Phil.
Anyway,
Oh.
kids. Yeah, let's get on.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I thought that's what we were talking about. I guess he's doing something else for the Batman. I don't know.
I have a steel bladder. I used to hold my pee from K through 12 for 8-10 hours a day, so I'm good.
Okay, well, you know,
popular
and so
girl.
did I in K through 12.
I also sat straight through Zack Snyder's cut. I sat through Endgame. No problems. I'm good.
Yeah, but Charlie, she's the same size as she was in like 12. You know.
No, that's not true. When I turned 25, I had a 3-inch growth spurt.
That was like me at like 19. Yeah. All right.
She was a late bloomer.
The full evil didn't manifest. Anyway, kids.
Exactly.
Yes. So yes, send your thoughts. Villains for Hire, as you heard, Mr. Clay McLeod Chapman was good.
Suck it, Russell.
Oh, yeah, that show. But yes, he came back for 2. He promises he'll be back for 3. So if you have questions when it drops, send them in, man. We'll ask the man himself.
Tell him how much you love John Walker.
Yes, exactly. All right, kids. So email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Capes and Lunatics on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Find links to all the various social medias for all the Marvel and DC shows we do. And also make sure you follow the YouTube channel. Again, a lot of interviews. Mr. Clay McLeod Chapman was just here. Jed McKay was here last week. Talked to Annie Chang a few weeks ago.
And we always have Chichester chats.
Exactly. This is the place to be. So, yes, subscribe to the YouTube, and most importantly, subscribe to the Patreon. Again, we're out here on our own. We're not being backed by any Fisks or anything. So,
Thank God.
yeah. So
That's the one check I would turn down. Still waiting on Amazon, though. Still waiting on Amazon.
Oh. All right, so yes, follow, subscribe to the Patreon, get early access to the creator interviews, like Lil said. Mr. D.D. Chichester's here every month,
I got the good mic out for you guys.
and Patreon exclusive, the worst superhero movie brackets. We're gonna find the worst superhero movie of all time.
Even if it kills Phil.
I'm fine. Find the suspense. Find out the suspense. Who will be the worst? Which will be the worst superhero movie? And will Charlie Esser wear a shirt that month? So.
So
gotta pay
what's
for
next
that.
is Blade versus
Elektra.
Elektra.
Blade Trinity. Let's
Blade
be clear.
Trinity. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so yes, find if you can subscribe there, or pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics sidekicks merch, like Charlie Esser himself. Being cool like Charlie Esser, kids. So you can find links to all of that all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right, tonight's Bell of the Ball, Lil Hellfire. Where can people find you?
Oh, God. If you guys have the nerve to want to hang out with me on the interwebs, you can find me on Twitter @LilithHellfire, on Instagram @LilithHellfire69, and, of course, making all the comments on everyone's posts over on TikTok @LilithHellfire69.
It's all rape and murder, I'll tell you that.
Pay attention to that movie. We got a review coming Sunday. All right, Charlie Esser.
Well, they can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, they can always follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it, which I haven't been.
Dude, I want to do
At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
for quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz.
All right. All right, kids. So yeah, train just keeps on rolling. Creators and
On the road to 300. Or 269, shall we say.
We're gonna be a 2A Lilith. What is that? July 269. I hope you prepared. Hope you prepared a hell of an episode. Hey, we could do.
We're gonna discuss our favorite porn movies, duh.
Hey-o!
Oh, man, that's a hard one.
Hey-o.
Yeah.
We could do more 1969 comics, little Hellfire.
I said what I said.
Hey-o!
Well, I'm just,
Oh,
'cause
same
you got,
difference.
the original Devil and Miss Jones, but then you also
Hey.
have Caligula.
Hey, wait a
Just
minute.
better.
Wait a minute.
See, Charlie's on board, Phil. You gotta get him on board.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
man,
for another week, we've been your capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics!
Go out and whatever, little Hellfire.